Welcome back, everyone. We're going to start to talk about what I call the three-step process, which is basically the creative process for really anything that we see, especially here in our golf games. So when we were younger, definitely we used our imagination more and more. Very easy to use your imagination when you were young. Even if you were young playing golf, you would have imagined yourself making the winning putt for the U.S. Open or the Masters or things like that. So our imagination was very prevalent. No matter what we were doing when we were younger, we used our imagination everywhere. So as we get older, we become more of a realist. We become practicalists. We accept this, we accept that. And in golf, we really become the realist. So to get out of this accepting mode and the realist mode, although we have desires, we just keep sitting in this realist mode. This is how the world works. This is how golf works. To understand this, to get really out of the conundrum of not being more consistent, we have to know what the three-step process is. So the three-step process would start with this. So let's say our step one would be what would be a desired goal you have that you want to manifest for your golf game. So we're talking about consistent golf. So let's say I want to consistently shoot or break 80 or 90 or 100 this coming year. So you start to get into this idea, hey, I'm breaking whatever my number is, 80, 90, or 100, and you start to feel, wow, okay, I'm playing this year. It'll be so amazing when I'm feeling this. I'll have these emotions, these feelings when I'm shooting and scoring, and performing the way that I really want to. So because you're going to get all pumped up, and your vibration is going to pump up with you also, which is part of the process. So anytime you set a goal up, you start to use your imagination. You start to vividly see the creation that you believe you can make. That all has thoughts and feelings and emotions with it. That's the higher vibration. Obviously, more connection to your I am presence, because I am presence is a higher aspect of yourself. It's telling you, hey, you're in alignment with these goals and desires. As you feel good, you know that you're in alignment. You know that you're capable of it. So in step two of this process, the challenge comes in, which is the challenge is basically the reality you've lived in before. The reality would be you've had limited outcomes, you've had poor practice, challenges are popping up. But basically you get this this check mark against you. It's saying, hey, you're wanting this reality to happen, but you're so used to these thoughts, feelings, and emotions that they keep coming up. So outwardly, what would this look like here in the step two process? You've made your desire, I'm going to play more consistent, break 80 or 90, and now let's say I'm going to break 80, but I go out and I shoot 92. So I get around like that. It's like, well, that's not very empowering. I feel pretty dejected over that. I play again, I'm slicing the ball over and over. I've taken new lessons this year because I'm trying to become that more consistent golfer, and I bought a new driver. That's all part of the process. That's part of my process to become this pumped up, better, more consistent golfer. I go to the practice range after my lessons, and I'm hitting it like crap, having a terrible situation. So this energy, which is kind of what you're used to, being the inconsistent golfer, sits within you. Now remember, when you set out your goal to be the consistent golfer, you also sat there in your imagination. You almost imagineered what this would feel like. You had the thoughts. You had the emotions. You had the feeling associated with it. That's the promised land. That's where that manifestation sits. It sits in that level of vibration. That's what life consciousness is all about. Your vibrational. Where your vibration is, your reality is going to reflect that. Now, another part of the step two process that, let alone you see some maybe poor outcomes with your shots, your playing partners, they start to mention something to you. Hey, you've been taking lessons this year. Doesn't look like you're getting much better. I thought you wanted to break 80, or I thought you were going to break 100 consistently. You're at 100, 105. I put you into this foursome with us in this scramble because I thought you could contribute. And then all of a sudden, obviously, you see that you're not contributing. So even playing partners, they're putting this pressure on you also. So all these things are coming up to you, all this disbelief, which is basically the past things that you've created. The key to getting to the desire that you have, which you created in step one, but it sits in step three in this higher vibration, that's better attitude feeling. So we have to learn to get out of this poor emotion, thought, and resonance that we've had. We have to start to identify it first. So I've asked you to pick out that desire. I'm going to be more consistent. and I've asked you to feel that. So at the end of this process, so what I want you to do as your homework is basically you're going to write out what your desire is. Let's say my desire is to break 80. And associated with that, when you write that out, here's my desire. And so hopefully this desire will be something a little bit different or better than what you settled for last year. It doesn't have to be a lot different. Something different, just so it's different in your whole energy field. Excuse me. So as we've written this out. Also write down what are the things that you are feeling and thinking about that. What's your imagination bringing to you? This is powerful. All these feelings and vibrations are sitting where your manifestation is. So you have to start to exude that, start to understand what this feels like. Now when I'm out here practicing and playing and trying to apply my changes in my season here, getting to my better score, you're going to start to notice these disempowering situations come up. What are these thoughts? What are these? When I shot my 92, what did I feel? How did that go? So when you come home after situations on the range or the golf course, you start to write down what's happening. You start to notice my better feeling here in step 1. I know it would feel like this, but here in step 2, I'm seeing these things. To get to step 3, we have to let go of these disempowering thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. So we have to be able, at first, just be able to identify what they are. And after you start to look at these, knowing that, well, here in step 3, the reality I want is over here, but here I sit and see these poor thoughts, these poor situations that I keep insisting have to keep happening with me. You're not wanting them to, but they keep happening. You have to learn to look at these and say, that's it, I've had it. I'm done. I'm going to let it go. This has nothing to do with me. And you find the conviction to let these go because you know that in order for you to be in step 3, in that manifestation area, the proper energy has to be there. That energy, well, that felt like what I asked you to write down in step 1. So as you start to release what's here in step 2, step 3 will come to you. That's our homework with this week. This is going to take a couple of rounds of golf, a couple of practice sessions, really several weeks to go through this, but it's a great process to get you identifying, here's my goal, here are my thoughts and emotions. In reality, this is what I'm experiencing. I have to let this go. And the reason you have to let it go, because for you to experience what you want in step 3, your vibration, your attitude, your emotions, your feelings, they all must be transformed. They must be better with the alignment of what that feeling would be in step 3.